Race fan Brian Davis races, and you can too, and I am so excited, as usual, because I'm going bike racing today. Yes, it's been 2 weeks since Tour of America's Dairyland. I feel good about this race. Things are gonna go into place, whatever. I don't really care. I'm gonna have a lot of fun because I get to race with two of my teammates, and that's a little bit rare. So we'll be racing and carpooling with Mr. Andy Webb and Mr. Dan Nafe, and I'm very excited to spend the day with my boys talking about bike racing, actually bike racing, and then coming home and doing family stuff after that. It's gonna be a great weekend. I'm filming this on the GoPro that went through the washing machine at Tour of America's Dairyland. So there's that. It took about a week to dry out, but then it started working. There you go. Hi, Dan. Hi, Andy.
Hey.
Let's go racing! A really well-run event. They do a concert, they have a little fun run thing, all kinds of stuff going on like all day long. The one thing, and I brought this up last year, maybe someone will listen this year. The one thing is the Masters race is at 11:25 a.m. and then the Pro 123 or Pro 12 or whatever it is later in the day at 7:45 p.m., which is crazy. And here's a pro tip for bike racing. Aim for a parking spot with a little tree, and this is where we're gonna warm up. And then if you watched any of my toad videos, you know, well, maybe you know, that little feedback Omnium trainer is incredible. So I bought one, and this will be the first time using my own. I got it all set up yesterday. Easiest thing to take out of the package and use. That's fantastic. So I'm a big fan of that thing. I'm just gonna hang on to be the emergency plan.
I'm gonna just ride fast.
One of these guys is gonna get away, and I'm gonna chase anybody that goes to get him. And then if it doesn't all work out, then I'll try to clean up what I can at the end. I feel like I'm running a minute behind, but that's all right. We'll be all right. Hi guys! All right, race fam, let's get into it. This is the Wisconsin State Crit Championships. There's 17 people that towed the line for the Masters 35 plus 2-3 category, which is what you're witnessing here. I get off to an early start. Why not? Practicing my whole shots for cross. But then this character right here, Eric Allen. Now, I don't remember really racing with Eric very often, but holy smokes did he make us have a really tough day out there. So we're going to talk a lot about Eric and his tactics. So Eric showed up to the start line with a Cervelo, I think it's a P3, an older P3, but he outfitted it to be a road bike. It's a TT bike. I'm almost positive that's the model. I could be wrong. But anyway, super aerodynamic, kitted up, skin suit, overshoes, little bars. He's got his little hoods like all tucked in like he's Victor Campenarts. I think that's the pro that's super aero. Anyway, he storms off first lap right from the gun, and it's clear we have a problem. So there's three of us in this race on my team. So there's myself, Andy Webb, really strong rider, and then Dan Neff, who's also extremely strong as well. Both Andy and Dan can hold a lot of power for a long time. I am the sort of the designated sprinter between the three of us. Andy can sprint just fine, but Dan is happy to do work or jump in a break or do whatever he's got to do. And we ended up doing the road race about a month later as well with us three as well. We had a good result there as well. But that's a whole nother deal. I did not really do a video on that, but anyway, Dan is the Wisconsin State champion road racer. But okay, back to crits. So Eric goes off the front, and then it becomes pretty clear to us that we're going to have to do something. So Andy goes up to the front and tells me in my ear that we need to start riding because we're only a few minutes into this, but he's already got a big fat lead. So Webby's going to come up to the front, and there's John Lester in the fluoro kit right there, and then his teammate Derek up the road there. So Webby is going to go up the road to try to catch Eric. That will not be the first time that attempt is made, and this will not be the first time it does not work. A little bit of a spoiler that Eric is really, really strong. So there's three of us, right? Like, we should be able to come up with a team tactic to be able to combat this, but we struggled with it all day. We made it. It's a super interesting race. It's a great race. So, all right, for those guys are still up the road, I believe, if I chop this up correctly. Eric is still way in front. There is a pace car in this, so if you don't see the pace car, that means Eric's way in front. So that's what's happening. John, bless his heart, in that fluoro kit, John Lester, super strong TT rider. He just poured so much work into trying to keep Eric honest and gave us a few opportunities to try to close gaps or get up to Eric, but it was not very easy to do. So we have another rider up here from Neff Cycle Service putting in some work to try to pull Eric back as well. I am recruiting myself to do that, so I'm going to go up here and do some work. Now this one gets interesting. I have Webby on my wheel, Dan is third wheel. Dan pulls back the field, does a little bit of blocking, so now Webby and I are free to fly, and we're going to try to get Eric back. Or my plan at this point was, like, can I get Webby to bridge to Eric? I don't want any part of Eric, but if I can get Webby there, I think Webby's got a shot at hanging with him for the long power duration, and then Webby, like I said, is a good sprinter, so I feel really good. If Webby gets there, I feel really good about our chances of Webby being able to take out Eric, but I don't really know Eric, so I could have been totally wrong, but I got as close as I could. I told Webby, hey, can you make it? He said yes, I think, or just whatever that phrase was, and he tries to bridge to Eric. See how painfully close that is? That is so close, but man, Eric just keeps his consistent power, and ultimately that doesn't work out. Webby comes back, and here we get a few more people that are going to try it, because we got fairly close to him at that point, but we got another, I think a Team Wisconsin rider tries to go up there and bridge the gap. That's not going to work out either, and then I'm back on in front, doing my best to try to get Eric back, and see, there he is. We're just so close to getting him. I put in a big pull, John puts a big pull in, now we got a little gap, the rest of the field's trying to close to us. I think I go through one more time to try to help John, but I am pretty gassed, and if my role as designated sprinter is quickly fading because I cannot do all this pulling stuff. I can't do it! That's not my thing, man! So, there's Eric, there's the field. Did they get him? No. Oh, this is what happened. So the little four, I think, I'm going to give one more yank, and then I'm gonna have to throw in the towel because I can't get the job done, and I'm kind of out of bullets for a while. 20 minutes into the race. The race is, I think we raced for an hour. It could be 50 minutes. I can't quite remember. So we got close there. We're still dangling. Still can't do it. John tries to close it up. Still no good. And then we got Dan, our teammate, goes up the road here, and I think Dan is going to put in a little bit of time on the front. Oh no! Oh, we did get Eric. Here's Eric in slow-mo. That's right. So Eric's off to the side here, slow-mo. That's Eric. You won't see him much anymore. But Dan was able to bridge to him, and I believe, or Webby Webby did bridge to him eventually on the second go-round. And then, according to Webby, once he got there, Eric threw in the towel, like, no, I'm not working with you. Really smart from Eric's point of view. I don't think he necessarily knows that Webby's a decent sprinter, but Eric had a goal for this race, and the goal for the race was to be completely solo. Yeah, and he's sticking with the plan, my friends. So that's it. As soon as Webby got there, Eric pulled the plug, came back to the field, and now we're just cruising around doing Masters racing. Here's a little preem, perfectly timed preem. I'm like, well, if nobody else is going to do it, I'll pop up here and get $25. Yay, $25. It's interesting because I didn't mean to string it out. I didn't really, but it was a preem, and that's an opportunity for, oh, guess who? Oh no, it's Eric! Where's he going? He's doing it again! No! And I am thinking, okay, this is decision time. There's Dan, my teammate, is second wheel. Dan doesn't appear to be jumping around to get that closed. I think first wheel is Bryant. I'm confident Bryant is not going to want to pull the whole field up there, nor is he, at this point, not wanting to do it. So I'm like, I got to go. So I throw in the kitchen sink, big sprint, huge amount of effort to try to bridge this seemingly small gap, but Eric is not messing around with his power output. So I'm able to do it, but at what cost, right? So my heart rate's 162. If you watch the channel at all, you know that it was sky high for me. That's really difficult. But I am going to plant myself on Eric because, like, again, I don't want any part of the smoke. I am just here to to frustrate him and to be on his wheel. I have no intentions of working with him. I do not want to be in a break with him. I am on my limit right now that I got here. Thank God I got to his wheel. And then this is interesting here. He knows I'm there, and he's going to pull. He's going to pop off here and take a look. How do I look? I'm like, I think that's what he saw, and he's like, oh, I can take this guy out. And I got one more sprint in me, so I'm able to close that up again, and that was thankfully just enough to keep Eric in the frustration zone, I guess. So there's his Cervelo. If you can tell what model that is, throw it in the comments. I think it's a P3. I don't know what it is, but anyway, maybe it's a S, for whatever it is. But yeah, Eric is definitely wanting to go fast today by himself, and he does not want any friends. He's made that clear. Okay, All right, so I am an anchor on Eric's wheel, and Eric comes back to the field because he doesn't want to do that, and he's just going to wait to remix things and do it again, I guess. That's going through his head. I can't speak for him, but that's apparently the thought. Now, by now, we're 33 minutes into this race. Man, we are cooked. Everybody in this race is like licking their stem. Everyone's just dying. And mostly it's because of Eric and then all the chasing trying to get to Eric. And now we've got Dan, my teammate, goes up the road. And so Eric and I made friends there for a second. No problem. I apologized. He apologized. Everybody's friendly. It doesn't have to be a big type A thing, right? Everybody can be nice in bike racing. I promise you it's possible. Let's work on that. All right. So now Derek from the Greifman Velo team is going to pop up here. And he's going to put in, I would say, a half-hearted attempt to try to pull my teammate Dan back. But I am just going to park on the wheel and do more blocking. And if you're new to the sport, you can, like when I use the term blocking, like I'm not physically in anybody's way. I'm just dissuading the activity. I'm morally hurting them, or morale. I'm hurting their morale if I'm on their wheel and they're trying to chase my teammate. Now I'm going to chase one more here. John Lester's going to go around Derek, and they are teammates, but here goes John. He got a little bit of a ride from Derek to try to close this gap to Dan a little bit more, but I can't let that happen, John. I love you, but I can't let it happen. I probably could have let it happen. Those two would have been good, and then this is the decision I believe I make here. I'm like, oh, I should have just let that go. I didn't need to chase that. I would have been happy with Dan and John in the break. It would have been neck and neck on who I would have chose to win that one, but I would have trusted Dan for sure. But Dan has had enough, and we are too close. So Dan pops off, and here comes the field. And... oh, and then, this is interesting. Then I'm happy with those four. Two teammates. I'm happy with those four. So I just pull way back, and I'm like, I'm going to give them a gap to see if anybody else wants to close that up. And sure enough, Jesse comes around because he's a solo. He wants to pull it up. Oh, and guess who it is? There's Eric. Eric sees this opportunity as a good counterpunch, and he is 100% correct. So that's what happened. I didn't get good footage of it because I was blocked in the group, but that's what happened. Eric went and caught those four, and then he just kept rolling. So now Eric is in the front, and we are accepting our fate. That is what is happening to the field right now because we're going super slow, and no one wants to do this anymore. We're 40 minutes into the race, and we've had enough of chasing Eric. So Eric is going to win the race. Got it? All right, so we're 56 minutes in. That's the spoiler. Eric wins. So he is the state champ, crit champ from a solo breakaway, and I think he had 3 attempts, maybe even 4 in there somewhere. But anyway, that's how his race unfolded. So hats off to him, man. Super, super strong. 3 of us from our team were pulling and yanking and doing whatever we could to either join him or pull him back, and it wasn't working. So what are you going to do? All right, so now we're just noodling with, I think there's like at this point 5 laps to go or something like that. I forget what it is, but oh no, I'm sorry, somewhere in there I missed it. Our other teammate Webby went up the road by himself. So now Dan and I are on the front blocking. That's right, and then Dan's gonna go cover this move, which is great because I didn't feel like doing it. And somewhere in this race, Webby and I talked, and I asked him like, do you want to lead me out? Do you want to be led out? What do you want to do? And he said, no, I can lead you out. I was like, dang. I was pretty cooked, man.
That was hard, Derek.
But anyway, at some point, Webby saw an opportunity to roll off the front, which he did. So now he's solo up the front. And now, like I said, Dan covered that attack. I'm going to cover this attack. And this attack is going to get super interesting. So huge sprint, a lot of power to catch this little group. I'm able to do it. I think there's 3 laps, I want to say, left at this point. Could be correct. I'm doing this voiceover many moons past when the race was. I just have lost my mojo for YouTube lately. So if you enjoy the content, I would so appreciate a subscribe, a thumbs up, a comment. Just tell me you're out there, that you care. Sometimes I lose my motivation, but I really like doing it. Once I do it, it's just like the whole concept of editing gets old. But anyway, here comes Ross. Now Ross and that Team Wisconsin rider up the road. I cover the attack. The Team Wisconsin rider fades back. Now it's just Ross, and then Ross sort of just mentally commits. He's just gonna pin it. He's gonna try to get Webby back. He knows I'm on his wheel. The announcer's telling him Brian's in for a free ride. He's not going to do anything. Absolutely correct, and that's what I did. So Ross just pulls in a heck of an effort. Super move that I'm very happy with because he's closing on Webby, and going up the road here, I'm like, there's no way he's going to close on Webby. He'll get worn out. He'll get frustrated with me on his wheel. But we have such a huge gap now. He's for sure going to get 4th or 3rd or 2nd, right? Like he's in the mix for all this stuff. So I think it was a good move on his part, and it was a great move for me because I could just camp out here on his wheel and do absolutely nothing while he's bridging to my teammate. That, if you're curious, is not something I would ever pull in that situation to try to bring my teammate back. I want my teammate to try to get 2nd place here. Eric is way off the front. That 1st place is a goner, but 2nd place would be great. Now we're getting dangerously close. This is the final sprint point, or the end of the race coming up here. We're on this last leg, and I'm really concerned because I really don't know what Ross has left. I don't know if he's got a sprint still in him. I have no idea. I know I'm feeling like not totally fresh, but I'm okay, and I got one good pop in me. And now we're getting to the point where I'm like, I don't know if he's going to get Webby. This is too close for comfort. I just got to go. So I cruise past Ross, just rip this turn, and again, I don't know if Ross is right on my wheel or what, so I'm going to get 2nd no matter what. So I pin it, and I end up taking 2nd place from my teammate Andy, and he let me hear about it, but that's all right. We got 2nd and 3rd on the day for Diablo Cycling. Really, no complaints about that. And again, hats off to Eric. What a race.
Podiumville. From Podiumville, Brian Davis.
Nice job, Brian.
Okay.
Nice racing, man.
And your winner, the man of the day so far. He went solo in the first lap, but he just kind of stayed there for the most part. Incredible racing for Adapt Cycling. Eric Allen.
Up here, he's tall and he's
Cheers, guys. Put our hands up. Congratulations to all of our podium finishers. That was a great race, guys.
It's not gonna break. It's fine. Everything's fine. Let's go, Webby. Got a picture? We got GoPro.
So, Paul, what made you get out and race today?
I don't know. I just wanted to race again. I haven't raced since the 90s in mountain biking.
Oh,
so,
fun.
Yeah.
So, what'd you think?
I liked it.
Yeah?
I got smoked, but
That's
whatever.
all right. Yeah, nobody came out of the womb
Well,
a crit racer.
Category 1 guys passed me 3 times, so what am I supposed to do?
That's all right. It's motivation.